Good Karma brand station.
It's time! It's time! It's beta time!
You are watching a master at work.
Truth Nation, get ready for the greatest 60 minutes in radio, giving you his authentic and bold opinions, bringing you all the information, entertainment, and conversations you gotta hear. From local issues to trending topics and headline news, it is time for Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, 1017thetruth.com, and streaming live on YouTube. Now, live from the American Family Insurance Studio at the Avenue in the heart of downtown Milwaukee, here is your award-winning host, Kyle Wallace.
What up? Hello and welcome into Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace here for a fresh new week of power with you all, Truth Nation. 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk, the text line. That is 833-212-1017 is the Truth Talk to text line. Also, watch and stream us live, 1017 The Truth on YouTube. Yeah, go to 1017 The Truth on YouTube and make sure you hit that like button and you hit that subscribe button as we are on our way to 5K as we try to get 5,000 followers on YouTube. Well, I tell you, you walk into a room and you don't realize you're walking into a hurricane, man. I tell you this right now is that I just came to work today and people talking about they talking about me already. I don't even know what they talking about. But before we get into all of that, what up, DJ Brother Z? How you doing today?
What up?
And so today we're going to talk about a lot of different things, but of course, always to get the show started, you know we always got to give a recap on the biggest three stories we had from the weekend with the Weekend Recap.
Truth Nation, we know you have a busy life and the weekend went by too fast. If you missed any of the headline stories, no worries. We got you covered on the top stories you may have missed. Tap in for the Weekend Recap on Truth to Power. Kyle, tell Truth Nation the biggest headlines they need to know.
All right, Truth Nation, the biggest headlines y'all need to know is the first one. I'm going to start off slow. I'm going to start off easy for y'all, right? The first big headline, we are going to have a winter wonderland here in Milwaukee come Wednesday. Yes, we have a big snowstorm that is approaching where we will see several inches of snow here in Milwaukee. They're talking about at least 4 inches of snow accumulating starting on Wednesday, 4 or more inches. This has been a mild winter for us. We haven't had too much snow, and then when we have had snow, we basically had sunshine the following week. So we haven't had to deal with freezing cold weather consistently. We haven't had to deal with snow consistently. So I guess that's a good thing. I don't know if that is a factor or a result of global warming. Not here to talk about global warming, but I am here to let you know that if you have not seen, be prepared because Wednesday is going to be a sloppy one as we are prepared to get at least 4 inches of snow here in Milwaukee. The big question is, will the Department of Public Works pass the test? As you all know, here in Milwaukee, we have our Milwaukee Department of Public Works, and sometimes they kind of miss the spot. when it comes to shoveling the snow or when it comes to plowing the snow. Matter of fact, the last time they did such a poor job of getting rid of our snow is that some aldermen in Milwaukee were actually talking about us getting some type of refund for how poorly they plowed the snow in the city of Milwaukee. So just be prepared as you get ready to go out and about for your day on Wednesday, as we are going to get at least 4 inches of snow. That's what they're predicting, at least 4 inches of snow. It could be more, but you know what? I ain't mad about it, Truth Nation, because if this is the last snowstorm that we get, hell, make it be a little 4 inches, and then hopefully it melts next week and we can move on about our day. The next story that I have that I want to talk about for the weekend recap was, I don't know if you all know this, but there was a lot of talk about Project 2025. That was the talk in the election. Matter of fact, I would say Benjamin was probably one of the first people in the media to really talk about Project 2025, as he asked U.S. Senate candidate, Eric Hovde, in person live at the Juneteenth celebration. That's 101.7 The Truth broadcast live from Juneteenth. And he asked the U.S. Senate candidate at the time for Wisconsin, Eric Hovde, about the Project 2025. Eric Hovde deflected. He said, "Oh, I don't know. What do you know what it is? I don't know what Project 2025 is. Can you tell me about it?" He was the master of deflection because he understood what it was. Now, the architect of Project 2025 was just recently actually named the head of the Office of Budget and Management of the White House, and he goes by the name of Russ Vought. And Russ Vought is now the director of the United States Office of Management and Budget. So that means Russ Vought, dude, he's 48. This man looks fit. Listen, I need y'all to Google Russell Vought, Vought. That man looks 60. He's 48 years old. He's the architect of Project 2025, and now he is in charge of creating a budget for the federal government, or where they disperse and send money. So yes, the architect of Project 2025, the Project 2025 that Republicans and Donald Trump told you he knew nothing about, he wasn't connected to, the gentleman that co-authored Project 2025 now is in charge of a department. He is the director of the United States Office of Management and Budget. And so with that, that's big news within itself. But the news that comes with that, as well as one of the first action items that he had, was actually eliminating the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau, right? And if you don't know what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is, it is basically a bureau that allows for, if we as consumers are getting, cheated out of something, the bureau actually, investigates, right? So they protect consumers from unfair, deceptive, and fraudulent business practices. So you would think that would be a great thing to have an actual bureau that would be looking out for us to make sure that, we aren't being cheated out of something, right? And so their whole point of what they do is they go and they look to see if businesses are having any type of identity theft or any data security breaches, or if there's any false advertising from a business or anything like that. And they are there to protect the consumer. But the first thing that this gentleman did was basically get rid of the bureau that basically protects us from that, right? So there no longer will be a Consumer Financial Protection Bureau that protects us. They have told the employees to stop working. And so now when you talk about getting cheated, we don't have an actual bureau that regulates companies from being fraudulent, regulates companies for saying they can give you some type of services but not actually come through and follow through with the services. So that is something that I thought was big headline news that we should understand. I understand what's going on right now. They're inundating us with so much information. They got these things coming from the left, coming from the right. But I think it's important for us to understand what is truly happening. So in your free time, I want you to Google Russell Vought. Again, it's Russell, last name Vought, Vought. And I want you to kind of look at his history and what he was. And he was a co-author of Project 2025. And now he has a seat in the White House, which will help determine how different federal funding will come out from the White House, right? He's overseeing that budget. That's a dangerous place for that gentleman to be. We're already seeing how we as consumers are being screwed over because the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau has been told to stop working. So my encouragement here for you today is, I can't spend 60 minutes breaking everything down to you, but I hope that you all actually take the time to educate yourselves on who this individual is and what the Consumer Financial Protection Bureau is and how that can negatively impact you as an individual. How you no longer have a protection or a safeguard against somebody trying to take advantage of you or something that's fraudulent that could potentially happen to you. So I just wanted to make sure I put that out there for everybody. Now, the last thing, a big headline, top story from the weekend, is everybody is talking about K-Dot. Everybody is talking about Kendrick Lamar as Kendrick Lamar, the superstar hip-hop artist, performed at the Summerfest, the first ever pure solo hip-hop act to ever perform at the Super Bowl. Congratulations to him on making history. And I'll just start off by saying we talked about the performance leading up to Sunday on my show, Truth to Power, on Friday when Ben Jamin and Carrie Noni joined me. And you know what, y'all? Sometimes I hate being right. I really do. I really hate being right sometimes because you know what? Kendrick's performance was fine. It was fine. It was all right. It was cool. You know, I feel like it lacked universal appeal. What happened to the music here? Is Zach, you mad? Is that what that is? Zach, is DJ Brothers, he turned the music down. He mad about this. Oh, don't be mad. Just let me finish. Just let me finish. I feel like it lacked universal appeal. That's my biggest thing. Like, I feel like he should have played all his hits, right? He should have played all the hits that everybody want to hear. Everything that make people get loud, make people want to, dance, make people want to have a good time, make people happy. I feel like, he should have definitely played all the hits. So it was a fine performance, but I feel like he should have played all the hits. But, I guess the pro-black message that he was trying to get went over some people's heads, which is, I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing that the pro-black message went over people's heads. But I guess when I'm looking at all the stuff on the internet, because when I told people that I thought the performance was okay, I was a little bored from it. I felt like he could have did a little bit better with the music selection and choice of it. People got mad. Oh, you just don't know. You don't know the culture. Okay, all right, fine. I guess I don't know the culture. But for me, I think if you're going to have some type of pro-black message, right, it shouldn't go over people's heads, right? When my mama is talking about, I didn't know there was a message. Well, she's black. She's a black queen. She's been black for a long time, and the message went over her head. And when I see white people on the internet talking about, man, I don't like hip-hop, but I love that patriotic message that he had, it went over people's heads. So that just makes me ask, like, who was the message for, right? If it's going over people's heads, if you had to run to the internet yesterday to get a breakdown from somebody who wasn't Kendrick Lamar on what the performance was or what the message was, right? Like, you had to go find what the message was. That's a problem. That's my only thing, is that I'm happy that Kendrick Lamar had an opportunity to perform, but I just feel like, if people got to figure out what a message is, did it really hit, right? Did the message really hit yesterday? That's the biggest thing. So, again, if you had to run to the internet to find talking points on why you need to support Kendrick Lamar's performance yesterday, and we're not even talking about how entertaining it was, we're talking about how powerful it was, and then you go to the internet and find out how powerful it was it really inspiring, right? What change are you going to do, right? Like, that's what I really want to know, is that if you did feel the message and it resonated with you yesterday, which is great, like, so what is it going to challenge you to do to change the status quo, right? Because it's cool to talk about, the message was great, it was this, pro-black, woo! But then you just go back to work and you do the same thing, right? What is it going to inspire you to do? What type of change to make our community better? That's what I'm looking for, right? I'm not looking for y'all to go on Twitter to go find out what the message was. I'm looking for y'all to actually be about that action, as Tory Lowe talks about, and actually be that change, right? Speak up. Be the voice that Kendrick wants you to be based off the message that y'all saw, right? Whether it's incarceration or whatever it is, right? How can you utilize your platform and your voice to actually enact change? So don't go to social media to talk about how great the message was, but then go back to doing your day-to-day life and not actually be active with anything. What's the point, right? You just want to be cool at that point. You ain't really about that action. And so that's my whole thing, is that I'm glad that the show was about, pro-black or about supporting people, but a lot of us couldn't break down what it was about before we went to the internet to try to figure out what it was all about, right? And so that's my whole thing with that one. So I just wish, I wish it would have been a little bit more blatant with the message, right? I felt like the message could have been extremely more blatant, and especially with Donald Trump being there, and I don't know his political views, affiliations. I know he's been to the White House when Obama was in the White House, and so I really feel like he could have had a more easier to consume direct message. And again, whenever you have white people who watched it who don't like hip-hop talking about they love how patriotic it is, it went over their heads. And y'all can say, well, it wasn't for them. Then who the hell is it for, right? Who was it for? Tell me. I'm just asking. 833-212-1017. Who was the message for? And so what also gets me, right, is people going back and forth and want to debate, like, what the message was, and want to debate, like, Kendrick did this, or no, I love Kendrick performance. That's cool. But what y'all need to be debating is we need to be debating about how our mayor here in Milwaukee tried to throw us off on Friday by breaking news that we're going to talk about here on on Truth to Power, we need to debate about the fact that, yes, we got lead in our schools, but how that story about lead on schools was right after the story about the $2.5 million missing from Hackam. We need to debate and to talk about the fact that there was a press conference held for MPS to talk about the lead in the schools, but there wasn't a press conference held about Hackam and the missing $2.5 million. See, that's what I really want to talk about, right? We need to be game planning on the lead pipe remediation that I'm going to talk about here, that all of a sudden the funding is maybe disappearing because the federal government and the Trump administration no longer is going to help fund the remediation of lead pipes, right? So we got kids in our schools who can't drink water inside their schools, and we have a mayor who's talking about that, but we're not talking about the fact that we need to find funding. Y'all too busy talking about Kendrick, right? Because Kendrick matters more than our kids in our schools. Kendrick matters more than the people in Hackam and the housing who can't pay their rent because they mismanaged the funds. See, that's what I'm trying to understand. So y'all can miss me with this, it wasn't for you if you missed the message garbage, because I got a message for y'all, right? The message is overall to me is that instead of focusing on what hip-hop artists do, y'all need to turn y'all TV off from that and focus on what the heck going on in our backyard, right? Because what we saw was a legendary rapper perform for sure at the Super Bowl, but, I mean, it was fine. It was just only okay. And to be honest, the best part of that performance, I love Samuel L. Jackson being part of that. I love the fact that Kendrick played some songs that I did like. But the most important thing to me that I really enjoyed was the fact that there was somebody who actually stood up and had a real message that we can consume. The individual that was a dancer that came out with a Palestinian and Sudan flag, and he raised the flag up and he had the word Palestine and he had the word Sudan, because hopefully what it did was, I hope it brought attention to the real issues going on across this globe. So whether it's the 40,000 Palestinians that have lost their lives in Gaza because of the Israel-Hamas war, and when I talk about 40,000 individuals, I'm talking about men, women, and children, a lot of them innocent bodies that have been murdered in that war. Or when we talk about Sudan, what's happening is the fact that they've been in a civil war for almost 2 years in Sudan, but nobody's talking about it. The fact that 100,000 people have been displaced from their homes in Sudan, but nobody's talking about it. The fact that not hundreds of thousands, the thousands of people have lost their lives in Sudan, but nobody's talking about it, right? That's what I'm talking about. So shout out to the individual that utilized his platform to talk about a real issue that's happening in this world. Because while funding is getting cut to places in Africa because this current administration doesn't care about what happens in countries of that people that look like us, we have people dying, and we're sitting here debating about whether or not this was a great, performance or people missed a message. 833-212-1017. And that is my weekend recap here on 1017 The Truth. And again, Kendrick, I thought the performance was okay. I thought it was fine. I thought it was definitely fine. If you like Kendrick's music, I definitely think you would appreciate that. But 833-212-1017. On the other side, we're not going to talk Kendrick unless y'all really want to talk Kendrick and y'all want to defend it, because my stance is what my stance is. The performance was fine, but I love the fact that somebody used the platform to deliver a clear message to everybody, because we know what the Palestine and Sudan was all about. But 833-212-1017, that's the Truth Talk to text line. On the other side, like I kind of alluded to before, we really do need to talk about the lead that was found in these Milwaukee public schools, Golda Meir School, their lower campus, 3rd through 8th grade, 3rd grade through 8th grade, have lead in their water, and there's still a lot of questions. And as somebody who used to work in MPS schools and somebody who refused to drink the water 20 years ago in MPS schools, I find it messed up that this has been a persistent problem, a persistent issue. But also I'm going to talk about the fact that while we're sitting here having lead in our water, the government is saying that they're not going to help us get rid of these lead pipes. They're poisoning our children, and they don't give a damn. I'll tell you more about that on the other side. This is Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 1017 The Truth.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com. We have Friday Night Hoops on The Truth. This Friday, the Milwaukee Panthers return home to take on the Wright State Raiders.
Blocked by McKee, pulled down by Stillwell, 3.5, and A.J. McKee, playing with 4 fouls, blocks the would-be game-tying three-pointer.
Scott Warris has the coverage Friday starting at 6:30 p.m. on 1017 The Truth and the Milwaukee Panthers Sports Network from Learfield. Tip-off happens at 7 o'clock.
It's time for the 32nd Annual Young Gentleman Scholarship Botillion, presented by the Seven Jewels Foundation and the Delta Chi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. A Botillion young gentleman is a high school senior in Milwaukee who's about to embark on adulthood and has chosen to pursue higher education, college, trade, or technical school. One lucky bowl will win a $5,000 scholarship. Apply by February 21st, 2025, and for more information, call Kevin Patterson at 414-364-2835.
Today's Making Your Money Work is presented by Associated Bank, and now I am excited to be joined by Tamara Castle. So let's get this thing right started. We are talking about buying a home for first-time home buyers. Why do you think a credit score is important, and what score do I need to be approved for a loan?
Well, of course, we all know that credit score is important. It's really measuring your ability to borrow. So with Associated Bank, we need at least a 620 middle score. And what we do is help customers build up that credit. With me having a background as a counselor, I'm able to tell you, looking at your credit report, what little steps you will need to take to get it up to that 620. Because again, like you said, not everybody is ready to purchase with their score, but once you get some guidelines, some tips to bring that score up, we'll get you ready for the 620 and get you rolling.
I love that. So you help people actually even get it up to where it needs to be so they can buy a home.
Yes, and that makes the kind of difference between me and other loan officers is because I used to be a home buying counselor, so I can give tips while I'm actually doing the application.
What would you say are some benefits of getting a home loan with Associated Bank?
Well, number one is customer service. We strive on that, making sure that we have open communication, and again, using a CRA loan officer that's going to break down what you need versus the loan officer that just says, I can't help you. Click. We are actually going to sit with you, and whether it takes 2 weeks or 2 months or 2 years, we'll still be here to help you with that mortgage loan.
Well, I already know people are ready right now just from hearing this. So how can they contact someone at Associated Bank about getting started?
They can always go to associatebank.com. Obviously, you'll look up Tamara Castle and reach out. The best way is phone 262-888-3135. We take the applications over the phone, face-to-face, or online.
I love it. Thank you so much, Tamara, for joining me here today.
Making your money work on the award-winning 1017 The Truth is sponsored by Associated Bank. Your money works here. It is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
Nobody pray for me. It been a day for me. Yeah. Hey, I remember syrup sandwiches and crime allowances, finessing on them with some counterfeits, but now I'm counting this. Parmesan where my accountant lives. In fact, I'm down in this. You say with my boo babe tastes like Kool-Aid for the.
It is Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I am Kyle Wallace holding it down for you here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. Make sure you watch and stream us live on YouTube. That is 101.7 The Truth on YouTube. Hit the like button. Also, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Get in on the conversation at 833-212-1017. That is the Truth Talk and text line. Make sure you get in on this conversation. Now, so last week, I ended up having a lot of other things to talk about, but I really wanted to get to this because I believe this news broke on the press conference was held on Friday, because I emailed the mayor's office to actually try to do an interview to talk about Hackham, and they were very courteous, and they said he would do it, but he actually has an emergency press conference that kind of is very urgent. I'm like, oh, okay, well, good luck with that. And that urgent press conference was to discuss the fact that Milwaukee Public Schools, three MPS schools, have lead inside their water, right? Higher levels of lead inside of the drinking water for the students. And so for me, that was very concerning, and for them, that's very concerning. And so the thing that I do want to talk about is the fact that we heard that story, and we're going to continue to talk about that story. But with that, the biggest thing that's concerning for me, because at the same time that news was coming out, there was also news coming out about the fact that the White House currently is looking to pull back on a previous agreement that the Biden administration had with the lead and copper rule improvement, right, which is towards the end of Biden's time last year in 2024, is they approved a removal of lead pipes across the United States. It was a huge effort, right? They wanted the next 15 years to help remove lead pipes. And with that, they were going to give funding to assist with the removal of lead pipes. Now, we have to understand what these lead pipes do, right? They hurt with development for young children and mothers who are breastfeeding. It also, they have it in their blood. It also impacts the child. Like, there's a lot of different negative impacts that lead in our water has. And something that's extremely concerning is the fact between 2018 and 2021, Truth Nation, is the majority of the reports of lead poisoning in water for children was reported in Milwaukee County, right? And so the children in Milwaukee only make up 20% of the young population, but they made up the majority of individuals that were impacted by lead poisoning. So these are things that impact our kids on a day-to-day basis, but not just our kids. 56% of this country is somehow or negatively impacted by lead in their water. And this is another instance of when we talk about racism showing its ugly head, because of the fact that we have to understand that certain communities have the wherewithal and the financial backing, right, within their places that they live to help remediate these problems and take care of these issues. But the issue that I have is that in major cities that typically vote blue, where they have these issues with lead, there is so much within the budget. It's so much that they have to, invest in or put money in or pay for, right? Our civil services that we have, right? Employees that we have. Is that it's harder to find the money within the budget to eliminate lead piping. So it's great to be able to utilize the government that we get taxed, right? We put our tax dollars into it to help remediate this issue. But right now, the White House is at a point where they're trying to withdraw from that and draw back from that, so they no longer are going to have federal dollars that help remediate these pipe issues. So I'm going to play a story just to talk more about MPS here. But here's a story from WISN as parents in Milwaukee Public Schools, specifically Golda Meir in the lower campus, are demanding more answers on what is going on with this lead pipe situation and how are they going to fix this so their children can have safe drinking water inside their school.
First at 10, parents sounding the alarm after reports of significant lead exposure at several Milwaukee public schools. Tonight, a growing petition calls on the city of Milwaukee to release the full environmental assessment conducted by the health department. Our Kaylee Starl spoke with Robert Miranda with the Get the Lead Out Coalition. She joins us live in studio now with more on these demands from these parents. Kaylee?
Well, Ryan, that's right. Tonight, that petition from parents at Golda Meir School already has more than 100 signatures after it was created Friday. Those parents demanding accountability from the Milwaukee Health Department and Milwaukee Public Schools, as well as a plan moving forward.
The school is an old building, very old. You can see that from walking in.
Daisy Aldape is talking about Kegel Elementary, where her daughter goes to school. We spoke with her Thursday after learning both Kegel and Golda Meir have dangerous levels of lead.
She already has elevated lead levels, and I didn't know where it was coming from. I thought it was from my old home. But now I see it's between my house and the school, so we're going to have to do the testing all over again.
At a press conference Thursday, city leaders said the investigation stemmed from two specific cases where kids had elevated lead levels that were traced back to Golda Meir and Kegel Elementary. The Milwaukee Health Department found MPS must, quote, immediately and significantly improve its detection, monitoring, and control of hazards. Now, even more parents are sounding the alarm, signing a petition over the weekend.
One of the parents really reached out to us and began to point out concerns that the parents at the school are having.
Robert Miranda is with the Get the Lead Out Coalition. He's now working with parents to demand the Milwaukee Health Department release the full results of their recent report, which discovered the elevated lead levels within MPS schools.
We saw a lot of the same things that the parents were seeing. A lot of inconsistencies.
Adding that parents deserve to know what's going on inside their children's school.
I don't think that they did an adequate assessment of the buildings. How many parts per billion of lead is in the water? What are the microgram levels of dust at the school?
MPS assumes any building constructed before 1978 has lead. The MPS long-range facilities plan says 85% of MPS schools are older than 1970, which is why so many parents say they want to see the health department's full findings.
They want answers. They want the city, they want the health department to be transparent. And we agree with them on that.
In that online petition, parents say they're
80% of Milwaukee public schools were built before 1970, and MPS believes that every single school built before 1970 has some type of lead inside of the water. Do y'all understand what they're saying? Right? What they are telling you is that your children are being poisoned when they come to these schools, right? That's what they're saying. Your children are being poisoned when they come to these schools. Now, we can be up in arms and mad at Milwaukee public schools. You can be. I can't tell you how to react or how to feel, right? You should be upset about this, right? We should be upset with the city for not being able to get rid of this issue years ago, because this is not a new issue when we're talking about lead pipes. But for me, my biggest frustration comes when we're talking about our babies, we're talking about our children, we're not talking about politics, all right? These kids aren't a pawn to be used in some type of game. If you are a Republican or a Democrat or an independent or whatever the heck you want to call yourself, when you hear that there are kids in Milwaukee who are having lead in their drinking water when they go to school, so when they're in gym class running around and they decide to go to the drinking fountain there to get water, they are being contaminated with lead, which could negatively impact them. When the kids are outside at recess and they come inside, they want to get a drink of water, they're being poisoned by the lead in the water. When they're standing in line from the bathroom, they say, I want to get something to drink. And they say, 1, 2, 3, that's enough for me. That 1, 2, 3, during those 3 seconds, your child is being poisoned inside of Milwaukee public schools. And so that should be frustrating within itself. But the thing that angers me the most, Truth Nation, and I want to hear from y'all, 833-212-1017. Also, hit us up on the Truth Talking text line that way, or on YouTube at 1017thetruth.com or 1017thetruth on YouTube. The thing that angers me the most about all this is, as this story is coming out, there is a national story that is coming out talking about how the Trump administration and Republicans in Congress are attempting to repeal a Biden administration which had groundbreaking rules that require all the country's lead pipes be replaced over the next 13 years and lower the limit of lead in our water. So while we're sitting here up in arms and angry about the fact that we have lead in our water in our children's schools, on a national level, the people who are supposed to care about us are repealing something that was going to help solve the issue. So this is what I'm saying about, we need to be paying attention and educating ourselves. We have to understand why we are in this current situation. And we have to understand that, yes, the government, the United States government, has oppressed our people, has put us down. They have absolutely disenfranchised us. They have discriminated against us. Even to this day, they continue to discriminate against us. But when we're talking about our children, they still don't give a damn. 56% of Americans are impacted by lead in water. But for some reason, the government is telling us they don't care. It is baffling to me that anyone could sit here and not be up in arms and not contact those, at the Capitol here in the Assembly or in the State Senate, or contact your representative like a Gwen Moore and ask them, what are we doing and why are we advocating for this? Robin Vos, who is the Assembly Speaker for the Wisconsin State Assembly, he should be furious right now about the fact that there is a place in multiple places across the state of Wisconsin that have lead in their water, and we had a solution where the federal government was going to use our tax dollars to reinvest into our communities to make sure that we had healthier drinking water, but instead the Trump administration and the Republicans are saying they don't want to do it. Make that make sense. How are we not furious and how are we not mad? Y'all teed off at MPS, but y'all not mad about this? Y'all want to talk bad about Chevy Johnson and MPS, but y'all not mad about this? I bet you didn't hear this story. And so that is where my issue comes out, is that we need to understand what in the world is going on around us, and we need to understand the barriers that we're up against. Because what makes me so upset is that the politicians are showing you, when they're focused on firing people or laying people off, and they're focused on cutting money, and they're focused on giving themselves tax breaks, but they're not focused on you. This is something that's simple. This has nothing to do with who you voted for. This has everything about doing what is right. And right now, something not right is happening, and nobody is yelling and screaming about it. Y'all mad at MPS, but y'all not mad at the government. Y'all mad at MPS, but y'all not contacting Gwen Moore about the fact that I don't see her up there up in arms about the fact that they're about to get rid of this lead program. So that's the thing that just baffles me about how we selectively choose how we want to be outraged and where we want to put our anger at. Again, be upset at Milwaukee Public Schools, but understand the people in power today had nothing to do with these buildings being built in the 1970s. The people who are in power today had nothing to do in the 90s and the early 2000s when some of this stuff was figured out and trying to remediate that, trying to get rid of that. But when we were sent a lifeline to help get lead out of the drinking water across our communities here in Milwaukee that impact us, our community, the government told us no. 833-212-1017. What should we do about this? That's what I want to know. I want to hear from y'all. What can we do about this? Are you as furious as I am? Are you okay with drinking lead in your water? Or are you going to stand to the side? Or y'all still going to debate about turning TVs off? 833-212-1017. This is Truth to Power. That's the Truth Talk to text line. We'll continue this conversation and so much more on the other side. This is Truth to Power.
Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace returns after this on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
American Family Insurance is a lot like Captain America. He protects the world.
It's just doing my job.
And we help protect your dreams with amazing auto and home coverage. American Family Insurance. Get a quote and find an agent at amfam.com. And see Marvel Studios' Captain America: Brave New World.
Suit up. We need to move.
In theaters February 14th. This film is not yet rated.
Products not available in every state. American Family Mutual Insurance Company, SI, and its operating company, 6000 American Parkway, Madison, Wisconsin.
I walk on the shoulders of giants who have come before me. I am ASAP and Maya Angelou. I am Marva Collins and Frederick Douglass.
From A to Z, I celebrate, emulate, and commemorate their example.
This is part of the Declaration of Excellence Milwaukee College Prep Scholars recite, not just during Black History Month, but each and every morning, because our students don't just honor history, they're determined to shape it. Enroll your scholar at MilwaukeeCollegePrep.com.
Truth Nation, get ready to celebrate excellence, passion, and the power of community as we host our first annual Truth Community Awards on Friday, February 28th at Potawatomi Casino and Hotel. This will be a Truth family party where we will celebrate the unsung heroes of our community and we roll out the red carpet for those making a positive impact every day. Tickets are selling fast, so go to 1017thetruth.com today to make sure you do not miss out on the biggest celebration in Milwaukee. Tickets are only $25 and includes free food, free drinks, and free Truth giveaways. Don't miss an evening filled with entertainment, heartfelt stories, and celebrating our city with the 1017 The Truth team. Visit 1017thetruth.com right now to buy your tickets to our Truth Community Awards. That is 1017thetruth.com to secure your spot for a night of celebrating the excellence of our community. The Truth Community Awards is presented by Potawatomi Casino and Hotel and brought to you by the award-winning 1017 The Truth.
We asked parents who adopted teens to share their journey.
There are many times I thought, I can't do this. I mean, what parent isn't worried about? What am I not doing right? What am I not doing enough? And then I realized, wait, that's being a parent.
Don't worry about being perfect. I've had around 3 other mother figures in my life, but only one of them has taught me how a mother loves.
The greatest reward for me is he makes me better every day.
I would tell a family considering adopting a teenager that teenager, whoever it is, needs you, and they need what you have to offer.
Taylor's giving me hope. He's our son, and that is what he will always be.
Learn about adopting a teen from foster care. You can't imagine the reward. Visit adoptuskids.org to learn more. A message brought to you by Adopt US Kids, the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, and the Ad Council.
This is Associated Bank Sports Update on 1017 The Truth, powered by ESPN Milwaukee. I'm Brandon Snime. The Philadelphia Eagles are Super Bowl champs after they thoroughly dominated the Kansas City Chiefs on Sunday night, 40-22. Jalen Hurts tossed for 221 yards, 2 touchdowns, as well as a rushing touchdown, and was named the game's MVP. Over to the NBA, where the Milwaukee Bucks got a bounce-back win over the Philadelphia 76ers on Sunday afternoon, 135-127.
Here comes Lillard. He steps back. He fires a 3, and that is his wheelhouse. Damian Lillard on that pull-up
long is just indefensible. He's got 25 points.
Dame finished with 43.7 boards and 8 assists on the day. No Giannis in this one. He has now been ruled out for a few weeks due to a calf strain.
And that's the way it has to be. That doesn't mean go out here and, think that I got to shoot every ball or anything like that. It's just, be more assertive and make sure that I stay in control of the game.
The Bucks will right back to work tonight. They'll host the Golden State tip-off set for 7 p.m. The Sports Update brought to you by Associated Bank, proudly supporting your hometown teams. Member FDIC.
You are listening to Truth to Power with Kyle Wallace on 1017 The Truth and The Truth app. Catch Truth to Power every weekday from noon to 1 p.m.
Big back, take, look back, little nigga. Catch him down bad and nigga cry a whole river. Now on my back, I'm taking care of the whole village. Somebody got shot, what you talking about, Willis? In the lobby with a brick of wicked Bobby with your bib. I go Lawrence with the fit, in the Rari with no tent. I'm from the trench, I got the dirty money rent.
Truth Nation, if you or a loved one is ever injured in an accident, do not hesitate, right? Call Gruber Law Offices. Make one call, that's all, to Gruber Law Offices, and they will take care of you. I'm telling y'all this right now, what I love about them is you see the billboards, you see them at the games, but more importantly, you know the results that they get, right? I don't want you to go back and forth with your insurance companies because remember, your insurance company isn't working in your best interest. They are working in their own best interest. They are looking for how can they pay you the least amount of money? How can they cut their costs to the least amount as possible? They are not working in your favor. That's why if you get into an accident, call the winning team at Gruber Law Office and they will truly take care of you. I called them and they took care of me. I know other people who called them and they took care of them. So I'm telling y'all, if you ever or a loved one gets hit in a car accident, tell them Gruber Law Office today. And what I love them is remember, you never pay a single penny. You never pay anything until you win your case. You get to focus on healing while they focus on winning for you and getting the money that you truly deserve. So contact them today at 414-276-6666. That's Gruber Law Offices at 414-276-6666 or visit gruber-law.com and tell them Kyle Wallace sent you. I'm telling y'all, some of the dread-headed brother from the truth sent you to Gruber Law Offices, and they'll say, we got you. We got you. We're going to take great care of you. But make sure y'all tell them that Kyle Wallace sent you, and they will take care of you. That's Gruber Law Offices at gruber-law.com. On the other side, we were talking about the fact that MPS has high levels of lead in multiple schools, but they claim that 80% of schools, they said that any school built in the 70s more than likely has some type of lead in the water. And they also told us that 80% of their school buildings were built pre-1970s, which would tell you that 80% of the schools have lead in it, right? Which that means probably about 80% of the students in MPS or more probably have lead in their water. And so that's one thing that I'm frustrated about. But the other thing I'm frustrated about is the pure racism that we're seeing being implemented in front of our eyes with the fact that the Biden administration had a lead pipe removal program that was going to help to fund the removal of 65,000 lead pipelines across Milwaukee County. Like, that's what it was going to do. Over the next 13 years, he had provided funding to help the removal of these lines so we can have cleaner drinking water here in Milwaukee. The Trump administration is trying to repeal that. And then on top of that, there's toxins inside our water, such as TCE, that they are also trying to repeal something that basically removes all of that from our water. And so what I'm trying to understand is how that is for the people and pro the people, right? How as a Trump voter do you sit here and you hear that and you turn a blind eye to that? That's what's so confusing. And why I say this is completely rooted in racism is that what we have to understand is that to the victors go the spoils. But when we talk about kids, they shouldn't be the ones that are negatively impacted. When we talk about human health, people's health, they shouldn't be the one impacting. Why I say racism is part of this is because the Trump administration knows exactly what they are doing. See, what they understand is that the bigger the city, the heavier the cost, right? So in a place like Milwaukee, where you have 65,000 lead laterals that need to be replaced, then you have other smaller villages that have more income, higher income, where they can probably afford to have the community pay maybe more in taxes or have the community find a way to take care of the billing for this. And so why I say this is a great example of this is pure racism is because when the Trump administration knows that the city of Milwaukee just can't come up with the millions and millions and millions of dollars that they need to remove these lead pipes, that's why having the federal tax dollars can assist in that. The village of Whitefish Bay also has an issue right now where they have lead pipes as well. They say about 84% of the homes are impacted by some type of lead pipes. And Whitefish Bay is a more affluent area that has higher income earners who could afford over a span of 10 years to pay an extra $500 to $1,000 maybe in some type of taxes to help remediate the issue so their kids have a brighter future, so their kids aren't impacted negatively by the toxins inside their water. See, the Trump administration and the Republicans understand that some of these communities and many of these communities, they have the financial wherewithal to fund the remediation of these lead pipes. And their way to sick it to you black folk for voting for Joe Biden, and sick it to you black folk for voting for Hillary Clinton, and sick it to you black folk for voting for Kamala Harris 3 times y'all didn't vote for Trump, is to make you sick, is to poison your children. This is exactly what they're doing. This is why it's rooted in racism, because they understand the bigger the community, the harder it is to fund getting rid of that type of stuff. And I'm going to play an article here. Shout out to DJ Brother Z. So y'all understand what type of toxins are in your actual water. Like, what is at stake here? So we're going to listen to an article here. Where's it from, DJ Brother Z?
Arizona.
Arizona's going to talk about their issues. This is a nationwide issue. 56% of Americans have lead in their water. And here's a story here from Arizona talking about their
It may be
efforts.
surprising for a lot of people to hear, but these chemicals are actually found in the drinking water that are consumed by a majority of people here in our state. And what happened this week is that the Trump administration ended a plan to limit the amount of PFAS chemicals that the industry is allowed to release into the environment.
You're wondering right now, have they exposed PFAS? The answer is yes, definitely. They're everywhere.
Dr. Rhett Larson is a professor of water law at Arizona State University. While there is still very little known about the chemicals, he says there's strong evidence that exposure to PFAS can cause cancer.
If you use non-stick appliances, if you have Scotchgard on your couches, it's often used in making more flame retardant materials, so it's frequently in your clothing.
Since the chemicals don't break down, they pollute the environment, earning them the name forever chemicals.
They accumulate in nature over a really long time, and they're very difficult to treat once they get to the water. So they build up, they're hard to kill.
Last year, former President Joe Biden ordered utilities to start getting rid of 6 kinds of PFAS chemicals in the nation's drinking water, all at the cost of the polluters.
That getting PFAS out of drinking water is really expensive, and those costs are going to get passed on to consumers, making your water bills a lot higher. And your drinking water is not where most of your exposure to PFAS is coming from.
It's a stark difference from President Donald Trump's first presidential term, where the Environmental Protection Agency blocked, rolled back, or reversed controls of PFAS. Today, there are signs the Trump EPA will continue that pattern, already withdrawing PFAS regulations and studies this week.
The biggest impact of what the Trump administration is pulling back from is information, not regulation. The studies that were coming out about the presence of PFAS in biosolid and sewage sludge, that would have helped us know whether or not that was a good place for us to spend money.
And last year, the Arizona Department of Environmental Quality began working to eliminate PFAS by a 2029 deadline. The department has been testing for PFAS in the water supply of 700 public water systems across the state since 2022. And then since then, 12% of sampled systems exceeded at least one of the levels allowed by the federal government. We have reached out to see how they plan to move forward given this new change. So a lot to look forward to.
So again,
what's in our water definitely
something that is killing us, right? Cancer-causing things no longer are going to be regulated, right? I don't understand how we are okay with this. And on the other side, I'll wrap up my final thoughts and give my last hurrah to encourage us to speak up and start speaking out about the things that truly actually matter. But before we go to break, I do want to let y'all know that right now it is Black History Month. In the award-winning 1017 The Truth, we proudly celebrate Black excellence in the most monumental moments in our history. Tune in all month long as we celebrate the voices, the stories, and achievements that have shaped history and inspired the future. 1017 The Truth celebration of Black History Month is sponsored by Milwaukee College Prep, Educators Credit Union, the Freighter in the Medical College of Wisconsin, and American Family Insurance.
More of Truth to Power is next on 1017 The Truth, The Truth app, and 1017thetruth.com.
It's Kyle Wallace, host of Truth to Power on the award-winning 1017 The Truth, and I want you to tune in every day from 12 p.m. to 1 p.m. as I engage in a community conversation I know you want to hear. From topics like our property tax bill price hike, which I know had us all shaking our heads, to the incredible MPS students getting millions of dollars worth of scholarships to pursue their dreams, I have you covered, Milwaukee. So tune in to Truth to Power every day from noon to 1 p.m. on 1017 The Truth, the Truth app, and streaming live on YouTube.
If you've ever worried about your heart, if you've ever loved someone with heart disease, if you've ever wondered if you're the one at risk, let's remind ourselves that we are not powerless. Because at the Froedtert and the Medical College of Wisconsin Health Network, we're pushing to outsmart heart and vascular disease by working with you personally to understand your history, assess your risks, and guide you to heart strength. By digging deep with tireless research and offering access to leading-edge clinical trials. And for the most serious conditions, including heart failure, heart valve disease, arrhythmias, and vascular diseases, we provide renowned expertise and the most advanced life-saving procedures you expect from academic medicine. So let's get out in front of heart disease. Let's outsmart it. Let's keep pushing so that every one of us can outrun it and embrace every beautiful day life in Wisconsin has to offer. To learn more about our nationally renowned heart and vascular care, visit froedtert.com/heart.
Immerse yourself in a place where bold ideas are sought after, where all are encouraged to bring their personal flourish. Here, innovation is a way of life. In this city, the beat flows. Together, we're dancing to the rhythm. Forward. Now, it's your turn to grab hold of that energy, where you'll remember not just the meals, the celebrations, or the oncoming coast. What you'll remember is how we made you feel. Come experience Milwaukee, where fresh meets fearless every day.
It's time for the 32nd Annual Young Gentleman Scholarship Botillion, presented by the 7 Jewels Foundation and the Delta Chi Lambda chapter of Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated. A Botillion young gentleman is a high school senior in Milwaukee who's about to embark on adulthood and has chosen to pursue higher education, college, trade, or technical school. One lucky bowl will win a $5,000 scholarship. Apply by February 21st, 2025, and for more information, call Kevin Patterson at 414-364-2835.
This is Truth to Power on 1017 The Truth app, and streaming live on 1017 The Truth on YouTube.
1, 2, 3, ho!
Calling all black-owned business owners and entrepreneurs, are you looking to share your stories and grow your reach? We have teamed up with Associated Bank for our black-owned business give back. Peep this. Each quarter, 4 lucky business owners will win an opportunity to spotlight their brand and journey on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. To sign up, to sign up for your business spotlight interviews, visit blackbusinessgiveback.com. That is blackbusinessgiveback.com, and let's rebuild our community's backbone through exposure on the truth. For official rules, head to blackbusinessgiveback.com. Associated Bank, member FDIC. And as we come to an end here on Truth to Power, here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth with myself, Kyle Wallace, I just want to wrap up with a couple thoughts, because, like I said, the same week that we learned about Milwaukee Public Schools, and we learned that 3 schools had high levels of lead in them, and we learned that 80% of the schools have some type of lead in them, it's the same week that we found out that they're going to pull back on some regulations, and they're not going to fund to the level that they once planned on funding the remediation of these lead laterals and lead pipes across the city of Milwaukee. We're talking about 65,000 lead laterals that were earmarked to get some type of government assistance over the next 13 years to try to make for us to have healthier and safer drinking water. And I'm trying to understand, where is the public outcry? Where are the Democrats? Where are the Republicans? Where are the independents? Where are the non-voting citizens who are upset that the water that we consume, that we drink in this city, is poisoning us, right? Why are people not up in arms? And what's crazy to me is always about politics. Where the hell is the executive order to get rid of all these pipes? Because while they sitting here trying to talk about executive orders to have us not have, paper straws anymore, so we just have plastic straws. Our kids is being poisoned by the water coming through that damn plastic straw they're trying to bring back, right? While we all up in arms because and happy that Trump signed an executive order to keep boys out of girls' sports or girls out of boys' sports that impacts less than 1% of the population. We're talking about a trans athlete ban that impacts less than 1% of the population. That impacts exactly 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 NCAA student athletes. We're talking about 10 people who are negatively impacted by an executive order, but meanwhile, millions and millions and millions of people across this country, 56% of Americans have lead in their water. So we're talking about millions of people who have drinking water, but instead y'all more concerned about the 2 Division I athletes that are transgender. We got to get our priorities right, because while y'all upset about the, or cheering for the 10 athletes that no longer can compete in men's sports or women's sports, we got 300 plus kids in MPS who are being poisoned currently by the water that they drink, and the government's doing nothing about it. That's what y'all should be up in arms about. That's what we should be upset about. Do not let them distract you from the real things that impact us. I'm not impacted by no damn transgender athlete. Most of y'all don't even know a damn transgender athlete in a school. We should be pushing and applying pressure for them to do something to get rid of the lead in our water. We were close, Milwaukee. We were close, Truth Nation. We had a plan. We had funding that was going to get rid of these lead pipes, or at least to try to get rid of the lead pipes. And it was struck down. So I plead to y'all. Stand up, speak out, contact somebody, or tell this to somebody. Let people know and spread the word that the government is trying to poison us. They don't care about our health. But this has been Truth to Power here on the award-winning 1017 The Truth. I hope y'all enjoyed the ride. This whole week we got some fire because I'm coming for Elon Musk tomorrow and how he's trying to save white South Africans. We're going to talk about that tomorrow. But the Tory Lowe Show is up next. This has been Truth to Power. Peace out. See y'all tomorrow.
The Truth app is home for all the Milwaukee Panther content you would want.
He'll dart baseline, and he will tomahawk it.